Good evening, everyone, and this is Sanjay Sinha from Aurora International School, and a very hearty welcome to everyone to Aurora online classes. Dear students, I have already explained this poem earlier. The poem is Rain on the Roof by Coates Kinney, a very famous American poet. And in today's session, I'll discuss the rhyme scheme as well as the poetic or literary devices used in this poem. We all know that it's a very beautiful poem, and actually, this poem uh, in this poem, actually, the poet feels nostalgic. He recalls the sweet memories of his life. He feels very happy, and he expresses his joy. He expresses the wonders of nature, that the nature has extraordinary power to heal the mind, body and soul. When something goes wrong with us, it is the nature which gives us joy and happiness. So nature changes our mood. Nature transforms us from within, and it creates the atmosphere of joy and happiness all around. So, without wasting too much time, let us discuss first the rhyme scheme used in this poem. When we talk about the rhyme scheme used in this poem, that is A B C B D E F E. A B C B. Take the last word of every line, each line, hover. Then we have a spheres. So A, then B, spheres, put B for spheres, then darkness, C, and then tears and spheres rhyme with each other. So put B for it. Then we have pillow, and for pillow, just give D. Bed doesn't rhyme with it, so E. Then patter, just give F, and then bed and head, they rhyme with each other, so give E. So the rhyme scheme is A B C B, A B C B D E F E. So A B C B D E F E is the rhyme scheme of this stanza. And each stanza, the rest of the stanzas, actually this poem has 3 stanzas, and each of the 3 stanzas follows the same rhyme scheme or rhyme pattern. So what is the rhyme scheme of the first stanza? A B C B D E F E. Now the same rhyme scheme is followed in the stanza 2, A B C B D E F E, and in the third and the last stanza of the poem, the same rhyme scheme has been followed there. So I mean to say, this poem has 3 stanzas, and each of the stanzas follows the same rhyme scheme once again, and that is A B C B D E F E. So we have discussed the rhyme scheme used in this stanza. Now let us talk about some other poetic devices used in this poem. So what are the other poetic devices used in this poem? Let's talk about personification. We know personification is a poetic device or literary device in which we give human quality to non-living things or to non-human. So when non-living things and non-human, like animals and birds, when they are treated as human beings, this device is called personification. Let us talk about it. So giving human quality to non-living objects and non-human, like animals and birds, is called personification. In the first stanza, the third line, and the melancholy darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. Melancholy means sad. Darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. Rainy tears. Rainy tears. Tears actually are the raindrops. So here darkness is personified by giving it human quality to shed tears. Darkness shed tears. Shedding tears is the quality of human being, and here darkness is shedding tears. The dark sky is shedding tears. So I mean to say, darkness sheds tears like human being. So shedding tears is the activity of human beings. Shedding tears is a human act, and here darkness is shedding tears means the dark sky which is covered with the clouds is shedding tears in form of rains. So darkness is shedding tears just like human beings. So darkness here is personified because it has the human quality of shedding tears. So here darkness gently weeps in rainy tears. This line actually is personified. So personification is here. So darkness is personified by giving it human quality to shed tears. I have said right now that who shed tears? Human beings shed tears. When something wrong happens with human beings, then they shed tears. When human beings feel or experience pain and suffering, human beings tend to shed their tears as a result of some pain, as a result of some suffering or misfortunes. So when something goes wrong with us, we shed tears to express our sadness. So shedding tears is the human quality, and here it's a human act, and here darkness is personified by giving it a human quality to shed tears. So here this line, darkness gently weeps in rainy tears, is personified. The device of personification has been used there. Now let us talk about metaphor. Metaphor is a comparison between two different things. When two things are compared without using as or like, this device is called metaphor. So metaphor is the device of making comparison between two different things. When one thing is compared to some other thing without using as or like, this device is called metaphor. So in metaphor is the device of comparison, making comparison. Look at the first line of this poem. When the humid shadows hover. When the humid shadows hover. Humid shadows. You see, humid means full of moisture, and shadows refer to dark clouds. So shadows are compared to dark clouds. Means shadows in the first line, shadows stand for dark clouds full of water. So what does shadow refer to here? What does shadows stand for here? So shadows stand for clouds, dark clouds. So this is the instance of metaphor. This is an example of metaphor when the humid shadows. So shadows signify clouds. And what kind of clouds? Dark clouds. Dark clouds, and these dark clouds are full of moisture. And you know what happens? The sky is full of stars. And when the sky is covered with the stars are not visible. We can't see stars in the sky when it gets covered with clouds, when it gets covered with dark clouds. So in the presence of dark clouds in the sky, we are not able to see the stars. I mean to say, stars are not visible in the sky when it is, means when the sky is covered with dark clouds. So dear students, shadows refer to clouds. Shadows signify clouds, means dark clouds. Now, moving on to some other poetic device, we have discussed personification, we have discussed metaphor. So shadows, metaphor here, we have discussed personification, darkness is personified. Let us move on to other poetic device, and this is alliteration. This poem is full of alliterations, and you know, alliterations, the use of alliterations give a musical touch to the poem. So when the use of alliterations and repetitions give a musical touch to the poem, means the use of alliterations makes the poem musical, and once the poem becomes musical, it means it becomes very interesting. So the poem is musical with the use of alliterations. So let us see the examples of alliterations. And you know, alliteration is the repetition of the consonant sound at the start of every word. So have a look, alliterations. In the first line we have humid hour, humid and hour. You know, humid, H, the word humid begins with H sound. And hour also begins with H sound. So the first letter is same. Humid begins with H, hour also begins with H. So her sound, both the letters begin with H sound, her sound. So this is an instance of alliteration. We have some more alliterations, like we have in the second line of the first stanza of the poem, over all the starry spheres. A starry means full of stars. A sphere means that is your sky, means the sky is full of stars. So a starry spheres, a starry, sa sound in Hindi. A starry, the first letter of a starry begins with S, and the same is with a spheres, and the first letter of a spheres also begins with S. So this is the repetition of the first letter S not for in the words like a starry and a spheres. Then we have in the first stanza, you see line number 7, and lie listening to the patter. Lie listening. Line number 7 in the first stanza, lie listening. Again, lie, the word lie begins with the first letter L sound, and listening also begins with L sound. La, lie, L. The first letter here is also the repetition of the first letter. So here is the repetition of the consonant letter. Here is the repetition of the consonant at the start of the words. So which letter is getting repeated at the start of the word? The letter L is getting, the letter L gets repeated in L, lie and listening. So this is an example of alliteration. Now again, just come to next stanza, I mean stanza 2. Stanza 2 and line number 4. Stanza 2 line number 4, into busy being start, busy being. Again you see BG, be and being. These two letters begin with B, means these two letters begin with B. These two letters start with B sound. The first letter is B, and again the first letter is B. So both the letters start with the consonant sound, and that is B. So it is also an example of alliteration. Then just move on to some other line, and here you will find, I mean to say, the last stanza, third line. In the third line of the last stanza, and the third line of the last stanza is, to regard the darling dreamers, to regard the darling dreamers, and darling dreamers. Again you see, darling, the first letter of darling is D, and the first letter of dreamers is D. So both the words darling and dreamers begin with the consonant sound, and that consonant letter or sound, that is D sound, the sound. Darling, dreamers. So they are the examples of alliteration. So we have till now we have discussed the poetic devices used in this poem, its personification. We have also discussed metaphor. We have also discussed alliteration. And now let's come to some other poetic device, and that is onomatopoeia. That is onomatopoeia. 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 Onomatopoeia, you know, you just have a look and try to understand. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a figure of speech. You can say that the use of sound words. Onomatopoeia is the use of sound words. Sound words. So wherever we use sounds to show some action, that is an example of onomatopoeia. Like the beej, you know, beej budge, buzzing sound. Coins jingle, jingling sound. A dog barks, barking sound. A lion roars, roaring sound. The clouds thunder, thundering sound. Here we have two sounds, patter and tinkle. Tinkle, you know, ringing sound, tup tup. So ringing sound of the raindrops is tinkle, and patter. Patter is also the sound of raindrops. So tinkle and patter, these are the sound words, and these sound words are the instances of, are the examples of onomatopoeia. So here tinkle, you know, in the first line of the second stanza, have a look. Every tinkle on the singles. So tinkle is a ringing sound, tinkle, and then we have patter sound, and lie listening to the patter. Then by the patter of the rain, as I listen to the patter, the word patter has been used so many times. So here two words, patter and tinkle. These two words are the sound words, and patter and tinkle create an image. Both words, patter and tinkle, create an image of sound of the rains. They are the sounds of the raindrops. So tinkle and patter are the examples of onomatopoeia, are the instance means example. INSTANC. Instance means example. So tinkle and patter are the examples of onomatopoeia. Now let us come to some other when the word is repeated again and again to reflect some actions or to give an stress on some action, that is called refrain. So here the soft falling sound of rain is repeated. Soft falling sound of rain. You know, in the first stanza, last line of the soft rain overhead, last line of the second stanza, of the rain upon the roof, again the word rain has been repeated. Then the last line, in the last line of the last stanza, by the patter of the rain. So here is the repetition of the word rain, rain and rain. So the word rain has been repeated at the last of each and every stanza to give an stress, to put an stress on the activity of rain, on the sound of the rain. So such a repetition of the same word again and again to emphasize some action, that is called refrain. So here refrain has also been used. So dear students, today we have discussed the rhyme scheme, the rhyme pattern of the poem Rain on the Roof. Apart from rhyme scheme, we have also discussed some poetic devices, and you know poetic devices are also known as literary devices, or they are also known as figures of speech. So either you call it a figure of speech or literary device or poetic device, they are same. So today we have discussed the poetic devices or literary devices or figures of speech used in this poem, used in this very beautiful poem by Kotskine, Rain on the Roof. We have discussed personification, we have discussed metaphor, we have discussed alliteration, we have discussed onomatopoeia, we have discussed refrain, and one more is transferred epithet. Transfer epithet is also been used. I'll explain this transferred epithet in the next poem. I'll first explain it to you. Transferred epithet. Transfer epithet has also been used in this poem, which I'll I'll explain this poetic device transferred epithet in some other poem, and then I'll make it clear, and then I'll let you know whether transferred epithet has been used in this poem or not. So till now we have discussed the poetic devices like personification, metaphor, alliteration, onomatopoeia, and refrain, and the rhyme scheme is A, B, C, B, D, E, F, E. So we have discussed all these things today. I hope, my dear students, that whatever I have discussed, you must have understood it, and thank you very much. Till then, take care, stay blessed, be happy, keep learning, keep working, keep practicing. Thank you very much.